Hey, welcome to episode 1 of our G3X podcast. We're super excited. Hope you guys are. Today we had our special guest, Jocie, who's a beginner lifter and whose goal is to show that unfiltered side of fitness. We go over her story that's packed with humor, motivation, and practical advice for anyone starting their fitness journey. We cover misconceptions about lifting, her workouts, her favorite workouts, and her strategies for balancing gym life along with her studies. So tune in for some laughs, insight, and also what's a real life look to begin your fitness journey. Welcome to the G3X Podcast. My name is Adrel. This is actually our very first episode, so we're super excited for this. Actually, I have here a special guest, Jocie, and ultimately, this first episode, it's all about that whole God Gym grind unfiltered. We'll be talking about different things from like fitness, life, business, everything in between. Hope you guys are super excited. I know we are. As mentioned, I'm here with Jocie. She's a beginner lifter who inspires to show the not so pretty side of lifting. And her goal is to show the humor in fitness, which sometimes includes falling on her face, literally, and creating a safe environment for others to begin their journey. So Jocie, thank you so much for being here. Hope you're excited. Appreciate you for being our first guest. How does that feel?
Honestly, nerve-wracking but exciting at the same time. This is something I never thought I'd be doing, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Like I said, like you said, actually, I am a beginner lifter. I started working out back in 2022, and then I started focusing more on the lifting aspect back in 2023. So it's something that I've grown to love, and I really feel like it's an art to do. And that's why I love doing it, because you're shaping your body. You're seeing what you can do, like physically or even like mentally as well.
I agree with you there. I mean, sometimes you start off for a specific reason and then how it just transforms or evolves into something like you're like passionate about. And then it just kind of becomes like, in a sense, part of your life, in a sense, was something that maybe you're like, I don't know if I want to do it or this. And then it just becomes naturally part of your life as a lifestyle, ultimately, as I like to say. And that's awesome. So I would also say then just building off then to like discuss some of your fitness journey and get into that. So like people like have a better feel of like about you and how you started and how you can like inspire others with your fitness journey. So let's say initially, what then initially sparked your interest in fitness? How did you get started on that regards? I know you mentioned back like in 2021, 2022 there. So kind of like what exactly sparked it, what made it happen and so forth.
So back in 2022, I know people have like New Year resolutions, and I was like, I'm gonna get fit, right? Didn't happen till March. And the only reason why it happened was because me and my partner were fighting back then, and the partner I was with, we were fighting, and he left the house, and I looked at the treadmill, I got right on that treadmill, and I was like, you're gonna regret this. So that's kind of how it started. And looking back, like, probably not the best way to start, but it was something that motivated me. So then every day I'd go on the treadmill. I'm like, I'm gonna stay at least an hour on here, do 1 mile per hour on it. But at least I can say that when I started, it may have been for vengeance, but it turned into self-love and being able to not need validation from others and just kind of like just doing whatever floats my boat, basically. So there's a lot that you can learn from lifting, and one of those is that you really don't need to please other people, and who cares what people think about you along the way.
Yep, exactly. Just focusing on you. You know, you see that a lot on social media. It's you versus you, but it's like, okay, people actually like live it. But no, I love that story of like kind of like the vengeance, kind of like comeback, you know, you regret this. So, like when I first started, similar story, similar with me. I was kind of already going to the gym, but just more like kind of like running, doing some light weights, nothing crazy. And then this whole situation happened. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're gonna like, that's when I started like the official bulk and like going heavy with the whole gym, which eventually led to this business G3X started. So it's like, it's crazy how all that worked out. So there you go. You just never know. Whatever's the trigger is the trigger, but then exactly like you said, it transforms into something that, okay, you know what? I actually love doing this. And then instead of doing it for, let's say, someone else or for the regret of someone else or whatever the case, is like now you're just doing it for yourself and so forth. So I love that. Would you say then that specific moment would like, let's say spark, like would you call it, let's say like that specific moment that you mentioned as that key that really changed everything for you, like in fitness, that specific, like would you call it like moment or milestone or something else that triggered you even further into like that whole fitness journey, anything of that sort, if that makes sense?
I can say that started the way I was thinking of let's get fit, because like I was never happy with how I looked, because I used to be in sports growing up, and so when I became 16 and I started dating, they were like, you need to be on birth control if you're going to be dating. And then I stopped doing sports at the same time. So when I stopped doing sports, I gained like 60 pounds in 6 months, which my doctor was shocked about that. And I didn't think I needed to make any changes in my diet or life, because I was like, you know what? I've never had a problem with weight. So then I just kept like eating and like not really paying attention to being active. So then when I got to that point where we were going through this breakup, I really took a look at my life, and while it started as revenge, I just kept going, I need to be better. I need to be better for me, but also so I can be better, like so he could like regret this, yeah. But like I wouldn't say that was like the biggest milestone for me, just because I don't like thinking of that whole negative experience as that's what started it. It technically did, but I would have just been staying on the treadmill the whole time and just walking 1 mile per hour. As soon as I found out that I could walk for 1 hour, I would always set up goals to like see if I could go longer in my walking. So I would be like, okay, well, I can do 1 mile per hour for 1 hour. Let's try 2 miles per hour for an hour. And it just kept going and going up. And so when I was able to start running, I think that was the biggest thing that was my milestone, was being able to run again, because I used to run 2 miles a day for soccer, and I took that for granted. I took an ability that we have for granted, something that some people can't do naturally and that we have the ability to do. And it just made me think, wow, if I could do it all over again, I would have been careful. I would have been more considerate of what I was doing and be more mindful of what I was doing.
Yeah, and you learn from the actions ultimately, but at least then it pushes you to where you are now, I would say, right? So
Yeah.
like you learn from the mistakes in a sense. But then so actually that actually led me a little off tangent, not like a plan like that we had talked about it before, but let's say then so initially let's say you were active prior, maybe not active in the sense of the whole like gym weightlifting, but still active like with the whole soccer. How many years then were you playing soccer for that?
I was playing soccer for about 3 years. Before that, I was in this YMCA program where they would take kids from school and you get to go to the YMCA to go work out. So I was also in that. I was also a thrower, not a great thrower, but I was a thrower. So we had to do a lot of lifting. We did a lot of deadlifts. Not my favorite. But so I had some like experience, kind of like I didn't know what I was doing, but so like they do bicep curls, I'd be like this, just up down up down.
No, okay, so nice. So then from there, then what was there like a break or something that you weren't like doing anything actively, which
Oh yeah,
then sparked you into the gym, right? If I'm following your story correctly.
yeah. So I was in high school. I was in tons of sports, so soccer, track slash field. I was in that, and then I decided to quit both, get on medication, and then the medication led to me gaining weight because it was a side effect of the medication. And then when I got off the medication, I never corrected what happened. So like I didn't decide to go back to working out. I didn't decide to eat correctly. I was eating out maybe like every other day. We were going to Taco Bell. And unfortunately,
Cheesy
and
gordita crunch.
yeah, cheesy gordita crunch. And unfortunately, I would say that the partner I was with, like whenever we'd go out, I wasn't allowed, like he would make this comment about not bringing your food home. He's like, finish your food. And I'm like, finish my food? Like, I'm not hungry. He's like, I don't want to take it home with us. Just finish it here. And I
That's
think
bad.
that mentality is not good to have. Don't push anything on other people. If, they don't want to eat, they don't want to eat. If, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's something that I had to deal with. And then I realized I needed to learn how to say no to people. And that's kind of where like my self-value came in, where I've learned to self-love and making sure that I'm holding myself accountable. Is just because someone else says to do something doesn't mean you do it. Do what you feel comfortable doing. Do what you think is right for you and your body.
I love that. Yeah. And you know, how many other people, both men and women, that could be going through, let's say, similar situations. When I say similar situations in that aspect, like maybe they don't have that, let's say, confidence to either say no, or like, let's say, putting let's say a line, like, hey, like there's a specific line that, you know, this is like my space, don't like cross over it, or let's say abuse of it, etc., etc. So just since now we're on that topic, I think that could be of super value to the audience listening who can maybe find themselves in a similar situation. What would you say then to those, let's say, women? Like, what would you say to those maybe going to something similar to that, like where maybe like for whatever reason they're just scared to say no? And it doesn't have to be so much in, let's say, in a relationship per se, but maybe like in the workforce, or let's say family relationship or personal relationship, etc., where maybe they want to do something they maybe they know they should be doing, etc., but for whatever reason, that peer pressure of other people telling, hey, no, you should be doing this instead, or this, like, what would you say that helped you over get to that point? Or maybe you're still working on it, but like it helped you like get better at it, of, let's say, saying no, or like standing up for yourself in a sense. And what would you say to like those people out there that could be going through similar situations like that?
It's extremely hard to say no. I can understand that. Like, I grew up always wanting people to be happy, so I would always say yes to someone if they wanted something or they needed something, and sometimes that drains energy out of you. And what I would say is take it slow. Start saying no slowly, right? Start thinking about what your values are and what you want to represent. I know for me, a lot of times it's more with family that I hate saying no to someone, and I just have to remember, although they want what's best for me, I know what's best for me, and I need to make sure that I can lead by example, because saying no to people ultimately has helped others. Like, I have had people tell me that I've inspired them to go to the gym and inspire them to do many different things. Like, recently I stopped drinking, and I'd get a lot of my friends going, like, they were asking me questions if I was pregnant. And I was like, just because I decide to not drink does not mean I am pregnant. Don't correlate the two. It was more for like, I wanted to see who I was without any type of like alcohol involvement. Am I still the same fun person that I am, if I have liquid courage? And it turns out I am. And I remember this person telling me that they were proud of me because it's something that they couldn't do. And in reality is that we are so consumed about what other people think about us, is that we tend to be like, no, I if they're drinking and they're having a good time, that means I have to drink and have a good time. No, you don't. You can witness what they're doing, which is even more fun. So just saying no one at a time. So you don't have to say no every time, because sometimes you're gonna cave in. I've caved in a lot of times on certain things, but just slowly being like, does this cross my line? If this crosses my line, far past my line, we need to say no. But if it's like close to my line, I'm like,
That's fair. No, I like that. And that's true, because I would say, and this is something I learned from some other people that I watch some of their content too that inspire me, is one, knowing like kind of like your priorities, like you said, which is your line or your focus. And then for every no you say, in a sense, it's a deeper yes to something that you prioritize more. And whatever that prioritize is, varies for different people. But let's say, hey, you say you want to, hey, I want to see myself how I am without alcohol. That's an awesome goal for you. So by you saying no to, let's say, no, I don't want to drink, that's not so much like saying you don't want to hang out or something, but it's like a deeper yes of you trying to, let's say, a better version of you that you probably yourself haven't even seen, if you know what I'm trying to say, right? So like
love
for
how you
every no is like a deeper yes to something even more important. And of course that could vary for everyone, but I think it comes down to having some kind of a goal. Like you said, like, hey, I want to see a version of me without any alcohol. Okay, that's like a goal or like a priority that you set for yourself. So then whatever gets you closer to that goal, and a yes. Whatever doesn't get you closer to that goal, a no, which is a indirect yes to that deeper goal you're trying to go for. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's
And
pretty
then it
cool.
also kind of like helps my friends know that, like, let's do something else besides day drink. Why are we day drinking like we're in
Yeah.
our 40s? Like we have nothing else to do.
There's so much more to life, 100. There's so many things to try, experience, go skydiving or I don't know, bowling or something.
Actually, something I really do want to do. I want to go skydiving. I'm a little rushy,
Same.
like adrenaline rushy. I want to do stuff
Yes,
that
I'm
like,
the guy who goes front row on every single roller coaster, hands up like that,
oh,
and
no,
just
no, no,
like
I don't
vibing.
know. Roller coasters scare me, but skydiving doesn't. And the reason for that is if listen. If I were to go, right, if I were to go skydiving and that was my end, at least it would be fast and it'd be like so
Oh
that's
my god. No, but I mean, at least with the roller coaster, you're strapped. Like nothing's gonna happen. At least with skydiving, it's like, yo, if you don't pull that string on time, you're just gonna like tortilla on the ground.
at least it's a fast tortilla.
Oh man, I don't know, man. That's crazy. That's funny. Yeah, no, skydiving is something on my to-do list. Let's see if 2025 it happens or whenever.
Go
But
with
I've
you.
been wanting to try it. It's
We're
like the
gonna go.
adrenaline rush. I love that. Just like seeing there, like just like falling, like
You
that's
can
so.
like, and you can record yourself doing it. I probably will pee myself. I really feel like I'd be the person to be like,
Like I seen some videos where kind of like the little spits like coming out of the mouth and stuff like that. You're like,
oh, let's see if my spit can beat me to the bottom.
right? Oh man, that's so funny. But no, I love that you see. So that's super cool. So you see, and I know that type of story so many people could, let's say, identify with. So I love that you mentioned that. And so going like again, kind of continuing on of your fitness journey and everything of the sort. As you mentioned, you were super active in sports and the whole thing there, and everything of a sort, which then made you get back on track and everything. So let's say from that period when you got back on, like that moment you got on that treadmill and then kept doing and moving forward, which led you to where you are now, through that side now, like kind of like restarting in a sense your fitness journey. Because I would say then, because of high school, your sports, it kind of were like maybe you weren't into weights, but let's say, for lack of a better word to use, naturally fit in a sense, just because you were like always active or so forth,
Yeah.
right? All right. So then now restarting back your fitness journey, and let's say from high school to that point where you like got on that treadmill, how many years could you say that would have been? Like what, 3-4 years less or so, or like?
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4 years.
All right, beautiful. So let's say, okay, boom, so let's say 3-4 years later, okay, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get back on my fitness journey. And then that was what, let's say 2021, 2022?
2022, yeah.
2022, beautiful. So then let's say from that point to now, 2025 January, let's say, what would you have seen getting back into the fitness? Let's say certain maybe like misconceptions or maybe certain mistakes, like starting out again, that you've encountered in fitness. How did you overcome those type of misconceptions? Because same thing, someone else that's starting their fitness journey maybe has those same mistakes or misconceptions, and then hearing it from you is a way for them to like, oh, overcome it and so forth.
So a misconception that I had until now is the scale needs to go down for it to show progress, to show that you're actually losing weight. It doesn't. The scale does not need to go down whatsoever. If you're looking for the numbers, you're going to frustrate yourself. You're going to feel overwhelmed. I used to cry my eyes out when I saw the scale go up, and I'd be like, now I have to, or like I would check my scale every day and be like, now I have to watch what I eat today. If today you give me food, as long as I'm hitting my protein, I'm going to eat it. I am very mindful about what I eat, but I'm not going to beat myself up if I decide to have something that's much more dense in food. I'm not. So I look at the scale completely different. Am I the best with it? No. Sometimes it still hurts from time to time, where if I look at a scale, I'm like, it's not going down, because I have a different goal right now. And it keeps changing. My goal keeps changing because I can't figure out what I want to do with my body. Because part of me wants to be like more on the bulkier side, but with that, the scale's going to go up. And that's something that I always had a fear of, the scale going up, that I lose all my progress. But in reality, if you're hitting your protein goals, you're not going to lose your progress. And if you decide to just body recomp to tone out, you're not going to see the scale go down that much at first. It's going to like gradually come off your it's like your fat melting off your body, but you still have muscle weight to you. And you're going to have a mixture of that. And that's okay, because if you keep doing what you do, eventually you're going to see that progress. It's not spontaneously. It's not going to happen right away. And I think that's why a lot of people quit, is because they're not seeing that progress really fast. It does take time, and you really do have to trust yourself. That's something that you have to learn, is if you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust that you're going to do this and that you're going to succeed. So I would say, don't pay attention to the scale. Pay attention to what you're eating. Get your protein in. Protein is the name of the game. And also, like, yes, calorie deficits are important, but your calorie intakes are based off what your goal. So what is your goal? And then you can decide what you should be intaking for calorie. Otherwise, it really is about making sure that you're eating correctly, that you're not exercise in, just because it causes you to be naturally happy. And I think that's pretty great, that you have something that you can do naturally to be happy, rather than taking different types of medication to be happy, which there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, I've taken anxiety and depression medication, and there's nothing wrong with taking what you need. But if you can find a source of happiness from something you do every day, I think that's a little bit more wholesome, just because, like, there's no, like, I'm big on mental health. Back when I worked at a corporate office, I literally helped with mental health month. And so, like, I just want to make sure that everyone has, like, the support they need. So there's different types of support for everybody, and no one's going to be the same for the support for their mental health. Like, some people will need to take medication even if they work out. Some people just need to work out. Find what works out for you, and never let the scale mess with your mental health. So I would say, because that leads to, what's that term? Not body dysmorphia. It's like it can lead to body dysmorphia. So you don't want that, because then at that point, you're not just messing with your progress, you're also creating new problems for yourself. You're creating a mental health disorder of always checking the scale and always being like, I need to do better. I need to do better. You are doing good. You are. If you are eating your protein, if you are working out, if you are doing the steps that you need to take, like drinking water, that's something I am terrible at. But as long as you do it, you're doing better. And you're probably doing better than most people too, because a lot of people choose not to work out. And I'm not saying you have to do like hardcore fitness. No, not at all. You don't have to do any of that. You literally could just go for a nice little stroll. You could play your favorite game. Sometimes I just go outside and I run with my dog and I play outside with him, because I'm like, that's an easy cardio for me, rather than if I go on the treadmill, I'm like just like angry about it.
I love everything that you mentioned, because even I'm the same way, right? A lot of people think they have to go heavy with the weights, or like they'll see, like, let's say calisthenics or powerlifting or something, they're like, oh, it's like, no, that's one side of fitness that if you want to get into, hey, all power to you, you know, etc. But that's not all of fitness. Like you said, it could simply something active. Fitness can be just active, going for a walk, just, you know, at least you're moving around, right? You're not just like staying still and just being stagnant. I love also how you mentioned that thing with the weights too, because it's so true. I would say definitely it's more of a longer term process monitoring that versus day to day, because day to day that thing is like, it'll be all over. Like if you eat some kind of food, like especially with like different carbs and so forth, that water weight, because like it stores that water, like that glycogen or sugar water, whatever you want to call it, etc. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I gained 5 pounds overnight from yesterday to today. I'm like, well, that's kind of more food than anything else, you know, you'll be fine. So like, don't trip about it, because I know a lot of people definitely, they get really focused on that, and it really messes with their mind too, when they focus it on a lot. So I love the fact that you mentioned that, and that's true, you know. So someone out there going through those similar stuff, as you said, long-term patience and just doing something that you enjoy doing and not like killing yourself. And then over time, if you're consistent with it, you'll see the progress for sure. 100%. I love that. Now, let me also mention here too, because for the audience is aware, as of right now, you're currently also studying, correct? You're in the university, correct?
Yes, I'm trying to become a dental hygienist. So school is my main focus. I currently don't work.
Okay, so now that's good. Let's say like a full-time student. So awesome. So now, that in and of itself is super time consuming. I remember my years in college too. It's like, so I don't even know how I found the time to do everything I did, but somehow I did stuff. I think back, I'm like, how did I even do that? That's like crazy. So, you know, we also know fitness could also be like time consuming. I see the machine you have there in the back, which is super dope. That's a real gym rat when they have the machine there in their house there. But let me ask you the following: when it comes to, like, let's say, fitness can be time consuming. So let's say, how do you ultimately go about, let's say, balancing, let's say, your studies, your assignments, etc., and then any other responsibilities you may have, family, gym, school, etc. Like, how do you go about, like, balancing all that and so forth? Because I'm sure other people are always struggling with, like, that time management type of issues, balancing life, etc.
I think it's all about priorities. You have to prioritize yourself. And when you enter your journey of fitness, you are saying you're taking a chance on yourself and that you are going to commit to yourself, and you're going to, this year, like, it's going to be about you. And that's what you need to remember, that, I started working out back when I was working and going to school to become a dental assistant. And so I would only do 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week when I went to the gym. So let me just backtrack a little bit. When I was on the treadmill in 2022, all the way to 2023, I was still working and going to school. That one, I had a treadmill, and I had a treadmill in my basement at the time, and I would put my laptop while I was working. I would walk and work. And then when I wasn't working, then I like on the weekends, I'd just go on the treadmill for like an hour. When I got into lifting in 2023, at that point, what I would do is 30 minutes, 3 times a week, I would try to go. And I went with a friend because it was scary for me at first. I didn't know what I was doing. And I will always be grateful for him, is that he showed me the gym. He didn't really know what he was doing, but we were together,
figuring it out together.
And I just needed, like, honestly, it was nice to have someone to spot me in case I pass away from the bench. That's what I would say, is start off small. You don't have to go all in. When people say lock in, or people say go all, like, lock in, let's say, when people say lock in, they don't mean every day, 24/7. You need to be doing some type of workout, some type of meal prep. No, we're saying lock in as in better yourself. Take the time for yourself, whether it's just 30 minutes of your day. Do something that is going to better yourself. And because, like, a lot of people think you have to be in the gym for like 2 hours. No. One time I was supposed to go on a date. I was like, I got 15 minutes.
There you go. You see, someone would skip it, but hey, I'm going to use the max of these 15 minutes. I love that. That's so dope.
It was also, the guy was Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. We were on Hispanic time, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's like 30, 45 minutes. I'm Hispanic too, so we know that. But in 15 minutes, okay, I'll pick you up in like 30.
I knew I had the time, so I did that. So I would do just 30 minutes 3 times a week. And eventually, I started just trying to go by myself, build that confidence up of the gym isn't scary. No one is looking at me, which in reality, no one is looking at me. I've almost died in the gym multiple times. One time I was like, I have a video, literally, I don't know if I put it on Instagram, but the Smith machine at Planet Fitness, I know you can lock it in, but because of like how my height is, sometimes you have to literally push up just to get a certain hook or something like that. And I remember just going like this, and I'm just standing there like,
shoot.
Help, nobody's helping me. I have to like slide my body to get out of the Smith machine.
No, and no one noticed.
I would have died that day.
Oh man, that happened to me too. I was with a bench, and I was barbelling actually, so no spotter. But it was a weight I knew I could manage, but I was just like, let me see how many I could just rep until like I really hit failure. And then I was like, oh crap. I was like, I looked around, there's like some 2 dudes over there, but they're on their headphones minding their business. I'm like, okay. So I was able to like roll it down and then just put it on the floor. I got up. By the moment I got up, then the guy turns around and just looks at me. But like, when you just look at someone, but like, you mean, and I'm like, yeah, okay, no one cares, no one noticed. On to the next set.
Yeah. That also happened with the leg press. Okay, so I didn't realize that the Planet Fitness leg press had stoppers right at the bottom so that it wouldn't smash you. But I saw so many videos of people getting smashed in their legs that when I was doing like 450 and my legs was going down, I was like, I just saw my life flash before my eyes, and I'm just like, I literally looked around like, help, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh, there's a stopper.
Yeah, no, those stoppers come in clutch, especially on the leg press. Yeah, there's on the hack squat too as well.
Yeah.
Which
Oh
those
yeah.
I
I
don't use
noticed.
as much, but yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes when I'm going heavy, I'm like, let me make sure these stoppers are good because I'm not about to get crushed.
Oh, no, for that hack squat, I have to go more down because I'm shorter. So like, it literally has to be on the like, not even on the left side. It has to be way down there. And
Shoot.
but I mean, it's still a stopper no matter what because the metal right there. So once it hits it, I can get out either way. So I wouldn't get hurt. But knowing that there is things in place to help, if to not hurt yourself is great. Like on a bench, I'm probably not gonna go the heaviest I can go if I have no one to
That's
stop
fair.
me, just because I need my hands first off for school. Second
Facts.
thing,
Priorities, as you said.
right, I broke my ankle while I was in school, and I was literally like walking with a walker.
In the gym?
No. In school, like when I was in school, I had a walker, and I was doing exercise, so I literally had to walk around with a boot on my right foot, which was terrible because that's my dominant leg. I didn't go to the gym back when I broke my ankle, but I had dumbbells, so all I would do on my couch was go like this, just up, down, and then I couldn't get, okay, so this is gonna be sad, but because I couldn't get up to get my own food, so they would just leave me food on the couch.
I think it'd be like munching on it.
Yeah, that helped me because they would just give me some carrots like I was a rabbit. They just,
That's funny. Just like 3 little pieces of carrots. I hope you enjoy.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny. Hey, but at least they were looking out. Those are some good roommates there.
I mean, I would have gave me a meal, but you want to give me carrots? That's okay.
College life, budget is tight, school life. Be thankful they left you some carrots. That was probably like half of their food budget for the day. Oh man. Now talking about like workouts and so forth. So getting a little bit into some of your, let's say, gym life. We talk about like kind of like how you were balancing life, some of the challenges you faced, what started on your fitness journey. So currently now at this point in time, what's kind of like your current gym routine, some of your favorite types of workouts that you've been doing that you would suggest for other people, like hey, these are some of my favorites, you could just try them, etc.
So, recently I've gotten into Pilates. So I've done this program. It's by Rosie Graham. It's on YouTube. It's completely free. It's a beginner course, and so it's a 30-day challenge. I'm on day number 16, and at first I wasn't liking it at all. Like I was just like, this is impossible because I don't like to do core workouts, and that's because it's uncomfortable for me because I don't have a strong core. But then I just kept doing it, and now I'm starting to love it. So now I do Pilates about 6 days a week. Eventually I'll find a studio, but for now it's at home, so that way I can fit it into my school schedule, because on Mondays it's going to be tougher for me to go to the gym. So instead of taking a rest day, I'm going to take an active rest day and just do Pilates that day. But when I do lift and I'm not in school and I'm just working, I do 5 to 6 days a week, and you can do any amount and still see progress. You can do 3-4 days and you would still see the progress someone who does 5 to 6 days a week does. And the reason I do that is because that's more my happy place. So like I want to be there. One time I was bored and I was there for 4 hours, and yeah, I was on the treadmill, or like, and just because like I know people say that don't overtrain, if you do it one time, I don't think it's a bad thing. If I was there every week for 4 hours, I think that would be bad, but I was just bored. So that, and then I also love lat pull downs. And the reason for that is because I would say that that's probably like the heaviest I can lift. And I love that. It's about 80 pounds. And I never realized I lifted heavy until I talked to someone and I went to the gym with someone. They were like, "You're lifting that?" And I go, "Yeah."
Hey, nice. That's some motivation right there. I love that.
Yeah, because when I first started, I could only lift up to 25 pounds, and then coming now, I can lift up to 80 on like the highest thing on my highest workout. And I mean, everybody's different on what they can lift. Like naturally, my legs are much stronger than my upper body, so I can lift pretty heavy on the leg press for someone who like just started lifting. Because even though I have like background in like sports and stuff like that and being active, I have that term of use it or lose it. So if you don't use your muscles and you're constantly on your couch and stuff like that, and you're choosing not to work out, I feel like you lose the muscle you have. Yes, you can gain it back. Yes, you can, like, it, you still have it somewhat there, but I didn't know what I was doing back then. I didn't even know what lifting was. My coach said, "Do this." I did it. It wasn't something that I was well knowledgeable. Like as of today, I can say that I kind of know what I'm doing. I know as much as like I may not know someone who's been in it for 10 years, but I can pretty much explain to anyone how to get started or how, like, what can work, and not everything is going to work for the same person. We're all gonna, that's why working out is so unique, is that we all have different routines, we all have different ways to work out, and yet we all get similar progresses. And the similar progress isn't looking like each other, because who wants to look like the next person? Yeah. It's more of the process that you trusted, right? And you got to your goal. That's what's similar about all of us, is that we have a goal and we're doing a process to work towards that. But I really do love my splits. Like, I love going every day. It's something to do. It's something I look forward to. So I'll be like, oh yeah, it's back in bicep day, or it's triceps and chest, legs. And I just kind of go on repeat on those. Like, as in, like, I do the same 3 days in a row. So we just keep rotating. And so adding Pilates is really nice, just because that's something different, and it definitely helps with mobility. I found that I feel like my muscles feel a little bit more better after doing Pilates. So, because like when you lift, your muscles get tense. They get very tense, and I think it's important. And that brings me to stretching. Stretching is very important, right? Especially after lifting a heavy deadlift.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So make sure you're stretching, by the way. And then,
to those who don't know, the audience, I was doing deadlift yesterday and I pulled my lower back, so it's a little sore. So that's why she's throwing the stretching aspect, because I did some stretches and it helped a lot. If I hadn't done that, who knows today how I would be feeling.
But yeah, and I would say, like, when you're starting out, you're not gonna like what you're doing, because you don't know what you're doing. I mean, well, you feel like you don't know what you're doing. It's like imposter syndrome. You're just like, I don't belong here. And in reality, you do. Everyone belongs where they want to be. And so I always tell myself, gaslight yourself. That sounds, gaslight yourself into thinking you like it, because in reality you might like it. You just didn't give yourself enough time to enjoy it. It takes some time before you're like, I really want to be here. And that's going to be because you see little progress. Like, I remember, like, I was looking back at last year's videos, and it was for my, is this pectoral muscle? Yeah, right? It's the pectoral muscle here. Chest. I was not able to move my chest muscles last year, and I'd be like, I remember like telling my friends, I go, look last year. You couldn't really see it. You couldn't see anything. Today you can see that I have something. They may be small, but they're there.
Hey, there you go. That's progress. Heck yeah.
Exactly. And if I'd never gaslit myself to being like, I like this, I would have never got to the point where I would be able to do that. So really, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Back when I was doing aero hammock, which is like this silk that comes down from the ceiling, and you do like certain like movements with it, it's really good. It's like really good for stretching too, because it does help a lot with mobility, and you do find yourself more flexible after doing that. But you can do flips with them, and I didn't know I was comfortable being upside down and using my upper body, because I don't have that much upper body strength, especially when I started doing that last year. And so I was like, be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because eventually it will become comfortable, become second nature to you, that you're not going to feel like an imposter in that area. And I just think you just need to take time with it.
And I would say then, building on top of that then, now let's say if there was one piece of advice therefore that you can give someone starting their fitness journey today, like what would that be?
I would say that it's okay to ask questions and ask for help. In the beginning, I was like, I don't want to ask anyone for help, because I don't want them thinking that I want a free coach. But I've met a lot of friendly people in this community who will reach out to me and be like, hey, you're doing great. Maybe do this a little bit, just because you're going to hurt yourself. And I think that was them just reaching out to me was just sweet. Or that, progress photos are great. And the reason they're great is because when you post them for yourself, but when you post them with other people, because everybody posts progress photos, everyone's like, this is the pump I got in today. And they motivate you more than anyone on social media, because they know what you're going through, because they've been in your shoes. They have started a journey at some point, and they want to be the person that another can rely on and be like, yeah, you go girl, you go, you got this. So they have inspired me to do the same. So make sure that, if you need help, reach out. Like, I'm one DM away. You can certainly reach out to me. I'll answer anything I can answer. But I think that, like, we're so scared to ask for help. And I think that's something that we need to be more willing to do, is that we don't ask for help from people, whether it's we're having a mental issue, whether we're having a physical issue, is that we're so prideful. I know I'm prideful. And that's one of my, I always say one of my biggest sins is my pride, is that I want to be able to do things myself and not realizing that I need help.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. And I think in the gym community, especially, people are like intimidated just asking for help. But you'd be surprised how, I would say more often than not, people are like so down to help you out and like explain to you how a machine works. I've been in that situation where sometimes I'll see someone kind of like struggling with a machine. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I? She's like, yeah, I don't know how this works. I'm like, oh yeah, so you do this? Like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate it. And then like, and then you made a friend, and then you see them next time, and you're just like, hey, what's up, or whatever. And then you kind of like start building like your gym relationship there too. So yeah, I totally agree, because it's true. Sometimes even like, I don't really want to ask for help, but it's like, I low-key, I know I need a spotter, but do I really want to ask for a spotter or this? And just ask, and people are more than happy to help. And I think that's 100% fair, especially someone starting out at the gym, like you said, where it can be intimidating. You're like, you don't know what to do. Just ask around, and you'd be surprised how there's a lot of people out there super down to help. And, you build it from there, 100%. And then for you, Jocie, then what would you say, as now you're with weightlifting, doing Pilates, where do you see yourself in the, like, moving forward, like next for your fitness, or like your fitness journey and so forth, or as of now sticking to like the Pilates and weightlifting and see from there where it goes?
So I like to make a lot of different challenges for myself. So I'm going to stick with the Pilates and the lifting, but I want to get back into running. I did my first 5K last year, and it was fun. It was in the dark, so no one could see me. I was literally red. I was just like, but I did it. And yeah, like, I saw some people cheat, like, across the course, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing the full 3.5 miles. So my goal is to get back into that. So I signed myself up for a couple of 5Ks that I'm going to be doing this summer. I'm also going to get my friends to do it with me, just because I don't want to go alone. So I will. That's kind of something that I am doing.
I love it. That running journey. Now, I have a friend of mine who loves to run. She recently, I think she did a 10K. I think, and she like got first or second place or something. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I used to run a lot, so that's where I started. I would just run on the treadmill. I would never run super long. It would maybe like 2 miles max is what I would do, like on the treadmill or whatever, or sometimes in the park. And then once I got like into like weightlifting and everything, bodybuilding, then I kind of stopped running. I'll still do my cardio, but now I'll do either like the stair step or the elliptical. But I haven't ran in a while. For Christmas was the last time that I ran like actually in a park versus a machine, for Christmas the gym was closed. But now running is definitely fun. Like when you finish after, you're like, and then like all that sweat and everything, it gets your blood going for sure. So nice. I'm rooting for you on that, on the running journey. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Love it. Now, just some quick fire rounds. This, you didn't even get these before, so this is like quick fire rounds. So I want to see, what's your go-to gym song right now?
Okay, so I'm like everywhere with music, but right now it's Mortal Kombat, the theme song.
Oh, really? That's so epic. Okay, that thing gets you going at the gym there. You're like ready to crush everyone. Nice, I love that. Now, if you could say you could only do one exercise forever, what would it be?
That's hard. That's really difficult. Maybe I'd stick the lat pull down just because they're my favorite.
Lat pull down? I figured you were going to say that, yeah, because you said it was your favorite. Now, lastly, what's your favorite cheat meal?
I like carne asada. I'm very into steak.
Carne asada. I would have picked the same thing. Yeah, I'm Nika, so the whole fritanga vibe, I could live off of that for like as much as I need to. Love it. No, awesome. No, Jocie, for sure. It was super awesome having you. I mean, this was a fun episode 1 of this podcast. I hope you guys loved it too. So it was super dope having you. Truly. Thank you so much. Jocie was here sharing her story of how her whole fitness journey, how she started, everything she's faced. So to the audience watching this, I hope you guys get a lot of value. We'll be doing a lot more podcasts in the future. But Jocie, also for the audience here, I'll even put it on like there on the YouTube description. But let's say if listeners want to find you online or keep up with your journey, is there any specific like social media that you would want them to follow or anything of the sort?
Follow my Instagram, which is Joss _shenanigans, because I'm always into shenanigans.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, perfect. And guys, I'll be linking that in the description here on the video so you guys can check that out. And awesome for sure. As with us, we're G3X Fitness. If you guys also give us a follow also on Instagram, G3X_fitness. And we'll be doing a lot more. So again, thank you so much, Jocie, for sharing your story. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on this first episode of the G3X Podcast. As always, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review if you're hearing this on Spotify. And stay tuned for many more episodes to come. Appreciate you guys, and thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day, and remember, God Gym Grind.